high performance guru for monster deals and deeper pockets. And today is all about how you can create a super ridiculously crazy profitable future, because sometimes it seems like the future is creating you, you creating it. So it's time to turn the tables a little bit. So you're in the right place if you're struggling to visualize your future and create it, because yes, being able to do this is so real. I'm not kidding you. What's up, Michael? How are you doing? So today we're going to talk about, in 4 steps, how do you get 10 times bigger in less than half the time. And I will tell you, I've done it. So I'm not sitting here saying, woo-woo stuff or whatever, and that it can't be done. I've done it. I know it works. It works consistently. I've seen other people do it and it works. So I'm going to tell you specifically how to make this happen. And you know me, I don't BS. I'm going to give you the real deal, step by step, on how to make it happen. So good morning, Cindy. How you doing? All right. So let's start off with the beginning. A little bit, who the heck am I? Because you're watching this going, I don't know Dawnna St. Louis. Well, shame on you. Seriously. So disappointed right now. A little bit about my history. I lived in my car when I was 19 for 6 months. I was homeless. I became this Uber IT geek. I founded a business intelligence company. It was valued at, hundreds of millions of dollars. Now I travel the world teaching people how to win at high-powered negotiation, sales, and build rock star businesses using $1 million mindset. So you want to do that. Hey, Michael, you're going to Barcelona. Oh no, you're flying in Barcelona and you're doing stuff with Jeff for Xerox. What's up? How are you doing? That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about what this whole thing looks like. When I was in high school, it was actually a year after high school, I went back to see my guidance counselor. And my guidance counselor basically told me what my future looked like based on government statistics. And he was like, you're going to have 5 kids. One's going to end up in a coffin. 3 are going to end up in jail. 1 is going to follow in your footsteps. And by the way, if you're wondering what following in your footsteps looks like, just in case it's awesome, it wasn't. I was going to end up being on drugs. I myself will have gone in and out of jail several times. Some of my kids would be in foster care. And that I would always be on some type of dependence, right? Some type of government assistance. And he wasn't looking in a crystal ball. This was statistical information from the government based on demographic information. Where I lived, where I came from, what I had done that first year after high school. He had this information laid out. This is where I was going to be. It was crystal clear that I was going to be a failure. This is the one thing I want you to hear. A picture of my future had been drawn for me. A picture of my future had been drawn for me. And you know why there was one that was drawn for me? Because I had not taken the time to draw a picture of my own future. So if I didn't want to live the future that the government statistics had come up with for me, by the way, they're like 80% probability on being correct. If I continued to go the path that I was going, there was an 80% chance I was going to do exactly what they were going to do. Mind you, that bit of 20% wasn't that great, because part of that was, well, I could end up dead. What the hell? So this is really what they saw my life as being. So I took the same steps that I had taken my entire life to get exactly what I want. And it is a blend of visualizing your future, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is woo-woo crap and I want you to go create a vision board. I don't want you to do that. This isn't woo-woo. This is taking the ability to visualize and the ability to act and put them together so you can actually create a future. I do this all the time with my clients. I ask them, where do you see your business in 10 years? Where do you see it in 10 years? Okay, let's talk about how to get there. We actually follow these same 4 steps. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to start meditating and just believe it will happen. No. You have to go a step beyond belief into knowledge and experience and action. You have to do these things. So this is how you do it. So Michael said his school told him he would be a bank manager. Oh my gosh, really? Is that what you wanted to do? They saw your future. But again, Michael, you You wrote here, I couldn't be a bank manager. So you knew you had to create a different future. And so that's what we're going to talk about here. Not only how can you create that future through visualization, but how you can actually take action and step into it. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to grab a pen. I want you to grab a paper. Give me some love because we're getting ready to start, okay? And give me some love. And after you give me some love, we'll get started. Here we go. Hope you got pen. Hope you got paper. So step 1 is called creating the seed. I need you to banish incremental thinking. That's what step 1 is all about. So if I ask most people what they're doing tomorrow, they could probably tell me. In fact, if I asked Michael yesterday what he was doing today, he'd say, oh, well, I'm going to be boarding a plane in Barcelona and heading somewhere with Jeff. He could probably lay out his day to me step by step with no problem. And in fact, most people have a calendar and they rely on their calendar to say what they're going to be doing every single solitary day. So this is a common thing to do. But if I said to you, well, I want you to think about something a little differently, or I want you to think about what you're going to be able to do, what you're going to be doing in June, specifically. What are you going to be doing in December? How about January? How about 5 years from now? See, they can't tell you with the specificity that they can about tomorrow. So tomorrow they can probably even tell you what they're going to wear and what they plan to eat. I can tell you what's on my menu for tomorrow, right? That is called incremental thinking. It's thinking in small bits. Thinking in small bits is great when you're taking action, but it's not great when visualizing your future. Most people get stuck in the rigor of constantly thinking about their tomorrow. That's what they're just here today. They're just showing up and they're just going to quote unquote get through today. That's all they're trying to do. So if your today, let's say your today is that you make $150,000 a year and you work at a job you kind of like and you know what that looks like. That's clear to you. You know what every day looks like. You know who your boss is. You know who your coworkers are, and you know what you have to do every day. Now I want to ask you a question. What does that look like when you are making $1.5 million a year and you own your own business? Now, most people, by the way, they go straight into fantasy land. I'd have a yacht. I'd be driving a Rolls Royce or an Aston Martin, and I'd have a French maid, whatever, right? They go through this whole fantasy thing, but I don't want you to get in fantasy world. I want you to back off from fantasy world because this is not what that is. And I really want to look at the reality. So let's get specific. You're making $150,000 a day, whatever your number is, and you're going to make 10 times more in the future. Tell me this, what kind of work are you doing? Who are your customers? Hey, Michael, in your case, who are your speakers? What frustrations do you solve for your customers? How do you deliver that solution? How are you delivering it better tomorrow than you are today? What kind of technology are you using? What does a typical day in the life look like on your best day at work and on your day off and your vacation and a typical day? See, most people can tell me that right now based on where they are today. They can visualize that. They do it all the time. But then when I start asking them about 10 times more of anything, 10 times more money, 10 times more time, what does that look like? 10 times more work? If I said, by the way, you have 10 times more work, most people could tell me how they could struggle through it, how it would be so impossible. But if I say, okay, you have 10 times more money, they have a harder time. So I really want you to think about, I want you to be very, very specific. What kind of work are you doing? Who are your customers? What frustrations do you solve for them? How do you deliver that solution? What kind of technology are you using? What does your team look like? What does a typical day in the life look like on your best day of work and on your day off and your vacation and on a typical day? Really think about that because it's quite different. What things do you need to have in place to be prepared for 10 times more growth? This is called exponential visualization. It is the seed of your future. And it's critical that you write down this view of your future so that you can see it clearly. Now, some people do like to use vision boards for that. But again, I've seen people use vision boards and they use them incorrectly because all they do is put houses and yachts. And these people never believe in their heart of heart that they can ever get there. So I want you to put in something that you really like. If you're at 150,000, what does $1.5 million really look like? And think about everything. How much taxes are you paying? Right? Think about everything associated with that. So I want you to be honest with yourself while dreaming 10 times bigger or visualizing exponentially. When I was homeless, by the way, I visualized a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage in a suburban community. I mean, I clearly visualized it. I was going to be married. I was going to maybe have a couple of kids. That was a big maybe, not big on the kid thing. And I had a car, by the way, that didn't break down on the side of the road and left me homeless, right? I had these things. Do you know that 5 years later, I had all of that, all of it, and a little bit more? But I didn't just get it because I visualized it. I had to follow the other steps. So let's talk about step 2. Now that you have the seed, it's time to prepare the soil in which to plant it. So consider the things that you wrote down and compare your future to your today. Okay? I want you to think about your future. If today you're at $150,000 and your future says $1.5 million, there are some differences. There are some significant differences. Maybe the technology you're using is different. Maybe the people you're working with is different. Maybe the type of customers you go after is different. What's different? Now, here's the step 2. Identify of those differences what you can do today to be ready for that future. What is it that you can do right now, starting today, to be ready for that future? And the reason I'm telling you that is because the future is already coming. You just sat there and wrote it down and visualized it. It's on its way. See, when I was in my car, there was a time where I was in deep, deep depression. And I wanted to end it all. I really did. I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I can't do this. There was no one for me to turn to. And I was at the depths of, trying to figure out how to hang myself with a freaking thing around my neck, in a tree. I mean, it was that bad. And I realized that if I didn't want to be there, that I had to plant that seed to reach my future. I had to plant that dream of that 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage. And the first thing that I had to do, the one thing that I would be doing in that future that I wasn't doing today, living in a car, was I wasn't showering every day. I didn't have a way to shower, right? So it was something that simple. I'm living in a car and I can't shower, but in my future, I'm showering every day. I'm putting conditioner in my hair every day. I also had to think of other things like, in the future, I probably have a badass resume and I probably have a job. So after I thought about it, I'm like, I need to get up every day. I need to take a shower. So I need to go and volunteer at that YMCA to wash their windows and clean their equipment just so that I can take a shower every day. So I'll barter a shower from them, a shower. Think about that. But that shower was my first step. It was the first part of my seed. And then I figured out how to create a resume because I needed a resume to get a job. And then once I had that job, I wanted to be able to transform my entry-level skills into enterprise skills. But my first step was just taking a shower. So you guys, I don't want you to think, oh, she's asking me to do something crazy. No, I really want you to think about the details of the first step of that seed. See, that was almost 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And I had one skill. I could answer the phone. I knew how to answer the phone and I had a friendly voice, right? So maybe I could find a job through networking or public services. But once employed, I needed to transform those entry-level skills into enterprise skills. And I came up with this from the backseat of my Dodge Omni almost 30 years ago. I want you to think about that. I was in the backseat of a Dodge Omni almost 30 years ago, and here I am today. So my question for you is, you're probably not in the backseat of a Dodge Omni. So what future are you creating for yourself? What seed are you planting? So once you plant the seed, now it's time to fertilize it because the future is coming, right? Do you know that within a couple of weeks of me getting up and just going and showering, taking the first step into my future, that my future had already started? I had an interview and a job. See, in this step, this is where you have to take action. This is where you look at that list of things that you could do differently, and then you start doing them. My list said I could take a shower every day if I had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. Today, I needed to figure out how to just go take a shower, right? So that was my first step. So in this step, you actually go and start taking action. This is the first action that you take. This is where you look at that list and you figure out what you can do and start doing them. You have to be ready for the future because it is coming. You've already set the wheels in motion. I would not have gotten that job, by the way, had I not taken that shower. See, the job would have been there, but I wouldn't have been there. In other words, the future is coming. It's waiting for you to take action. So I took that shower, which gave me the confidence to be around other people, which gave me the confidence to network, which helped me network my way into that job. And this is step 4. Step 4 is kill the weeds. Because here's the thing, you're sitting there right now and some people are going, oh my God, Dawnna just went woo-woo on my ass. And I swear to God I didn't, because I'm pretty sure I told you to get up off your butt and take action. But here's the thing, even in that action of I need to take a shower, there were doubts that began to form, right? Like, how am I going to take a shower? I'm in a car. I mean, where am I going to get water from? Where am I going to get soap from? I don't even have any money. I'm going to go and spend my money on soap when I don't even know how I'm going to get water, and I'm going to go take a shower. All those doubts started falling in, and I could have let those doubts keep me right there in the backseat of that car. Those doubts are the weeds that kill your seed and keep it from growing. I would interview for a job, by the way, and I would sleep in my car that night. And that's when doubt would really set in, when I was the most scared and the most vulnerable. Doubts like, no one will ever hire someone without a phone. Because remember, back then, there were no cell phones. There were people had pagers, but there were no cell phones, and I didn't have a pager. So I was thinking, no one will ever hire me without a phone, which means I will never get a real phone, a real job, or a real home. This is the seed that could have killed everything. This is the weed that could have killed my seed. So this type of thinking is easy. It's so easy. And it creates this cluster of confusion. And then when you have that confusion, your seed won't grow. And what happens is you need clarity, because clarity conquers doubt. So start crushing those doubts by questioning them and solving them. So instead of sitting there and going, I have no phone, they will never ever hire me, I started thinking a little differently. I started going into solution mode. Well, what if I used a payphone number as my home phone? There was a payphone that was not far. It just meant I wouldn't have the convenience of being in my car. I literally have to sit on the curb by the phone all day long, right? And then I thought a little deeper. I said, wait. What if I ask the guy at the YMCA where I'm volunteering to take showers if I could use their phone number in exchange for extra cleaning work around the gym? I'll do extra cleaning work. All I need to do is beg them, please, someone's going to call here for me. It's for a job. And if I ask him to use that phone number and he says yes, I'll have a job. I will move into an apartment. I will no longer be homeless. All I have to do is persuade him to yes. And I will have reached the first step of my seed, taking a shower every day. Notice how I went from, I can't even take a shower, so no one's going to hire me. I don't have a phone, so no one's going to hire me, to how I can take a shower and how I can get a phone. I want to remind you of something so critical right now. And I got to be honest, I'm getting a little choked up about this because I remember these moments. But I have to tell you something right now that is so critical for you to understand. I was a 19-year-old girl in the backseat of a car with nothing, with absolutely nothing. So you have absolutely no excuse. I swear to you right now, plant your seed, create your future. You can do this. I know you can. If a dumb 19-year-old who got stranded on the side of the road that didn't even have a penny to her name could do it, so can you. So here are those 4 steps one more time. Number 1, create the seed by visualizing your full future and not just the fantastical parts of it. Number 2, plant the seed by identifying what you can do differently to reach that future. So think about what you can do differently now. Number 3, fertilize that seed by taking the actions that you identified in step 2. And then number 4, crush the doubts that will come in, and they will eradicate, because those doubts will eradicate your future. So crush them, get rid of them, because here's the one thing I'm going to tell you. By virtue of doing step 1, the future is coming. People always say that they visualize and they don't see anything happen. You know why they don't see anything happen? Because they never did step 2, 3, or 4. The future is coming. Crush the doubts that eradicate your future and create solutions to the roadblocks that you're creating. And here's my final step. Here's the last thing I want to share with you. I do this, I say this all the time. I do it every day. People who follow the 6 do it all the time. Share. Share your knowledge at least once a day. Share something you've learned that could benefit others, even if it doesn't benefit you. Share and be totally transparent with that sharing. Sharing creates prosperity. So in fact, you can start sharing here. Share this video, because there's someone out there right now who needs to hear this. So until next time, I'm Dawnna St. Louis, and you and your team can discover how to negotiate like a rock star and close bigger deals faster with my kick-ass programs. Just go to www.dawnna.com. Until next time.